When was the last time that you were amazed? Amazement is all over the place in the story we are following in the Gospel of Luke this season. First, Zechariah is amazed when he is confronted with an angel in the sanctuary of God. And he is amazed again as he receives the news from that angel that Elizabeth, his wife, will bear a holy child in her old age. Mary is amazed when she is greeted by an angel. She is amazed again as she receives the news that she will bear a holy child, born of the Spirit. Elizabeth is amazed when she feels her child move within her at the sound of Mary's voice. And Mary, receiving Elizabeth's warm welcome, is so filled with amazement that she sings the Magnificat, praising God's great actions throughout history and in her own humble life. Today we arrive at yet another amazing moment in the story. Elizabeth and Zechariah's neighbors and relatives have gathered to rejoice, for Elizabeth has safely given birth to their long-awaited child. Every baby is a miracle, and the community support for this particular baby is especially sweet, since among the crowd may be some of those who made Elizabeth feel ashamed about her childlessness in the past. So this should be a joyful gathering, and one that proceeds like so many that have happened in this community before. But something is strange. The crowd assumes that the new baby will be named Zechariah, like his father. So Elizabeth has to intervene, saying, no, the baby is to be called John. Generally, it is my expectation that when a mother tells you the name that her baby will have, you believe her. But the crowd rushes to explain to Elizabeth why she must be wrong. None of your relatives have this name. Can someone help Paul and Eddie find their seats? There you go. Yeah. So, the crowd's in the middle of correcting Elizabeth. None of your relatives have this name, and they turn to a more reliable source, the man of the family, confident that they will receive a better answer. Etiquette tip, never do this. Thankfully, John is ready to back his wife up with this truth that they already know. This baby has been given a name. Not a name from the family, not a name in their community's tradition, but a name given directly by God. In this story, it is the crowd that is amazed. They are amazed by the name that has been chosen, and then they are amazed again because Zechariah begins to speak after 9 months of silence, praising God and proclaiming that this child will be a prophet. The events of this day are so amazing that they become the hot gossip of the hill country. And all who hear of these events ponder their meaning, wondering, what will this child become? God is preparing a way among the people. God is preparing a way with awe. When was the last time that you felt amazed? There are many reasons why amazement may elude us. As this season began 2 weeks ago, we took some time to remember that many of us are weary, physically weary perhaps, but also spiritually weary. As the season deepens, perhaps you have been feeling some holiday stress or a painful discordance between the expected cheer of this time of year and your personal struggles or political strife or international tragedy. Your weariness may be increasing. If we are honest about how our hearts hurt and how our world is broken, how can we feel amazement? And even if we could feel it, might it be wrong to find wonder in a time such as this? It may be helpful to remember that the people in these stories were not free from struggle. In fact, they were living in the midst of deep troubles, poverty and colonization, illness and violence and war. The people who first told these stories and those who gathered them up and recorded them and all the folks who have passed them on so that we can receive them today, in every age, people have been caught up in different forms of human tragedy. And in the midst of all that tragedy, what have they passed on? Scriptures that tell us that we can be surprised by awe in the midst of everything else. Scriptures that tell us that change is possible, that amazing things can happen. Our tears can turn to joy, and wonder itself can be a balm. And on this last point, modern psychologists agree. I love it when social science confirms what religion has been practicing for thousands of years. Psychologists are now running tests to confirm that awe is an essential experience for our well-being. When we encounter something that feels vast, deep and wide, or beautiful and wise beyond our understanding, it calms our nervous system. It releases oxytocin. It quiets negative self-preoccupation. It improves our mental health. Paying attention to the loveliness of a tree, or the kindness of a neighbor, or the courage of a leader, it reminds us that we're a part of something bigger than ourselves, something beautiful. The artist who created the backdrops for this worship series that we've been enjoying writes that pictures of the cosmos help her feel wonder and find hope. Maybe you could spend some time today looking at pictures of space that have been taken by a telescope, or wandering out to see the stars one night this week after the sun sets around 4:30 in the afternoon. Take advantage of that. Of course, we can seek out awe on a mountaintop or by an ocean or in a great symphony, and also perhaps simply in the pleasure of hands around a hot mug and the patterns of the steam rising up, or the sound of a loved one's voice, or the colors of our stained glass, or the sound of our voices joined together in song. We don't need to wait for a more perfect time to experience the mind-expanding relief of wonder. Like the characters in our scriptures, we can find it right where we are in the midst of everything else. This season of Advent calls us to wake up. To wake up to what is wrong and needs to be changed, yes, and also to wake up to what is already or what is suddenly right. God invites us to allow our hearts to be moved by awe, to experience how weariness can turn to wonder, to learn how grief can be sown to raise a harvest of joy. Please pray with me. Help us to pay attention, God, so that we might not miss what is amazing. Something new or something renewed, something beautiful or something kind, some vast expanse or some small delight. Bless us with wonder and soothe us with awe. You and your world are magnificent. Help us to notice, and may our noticing prepare our hearts for a more complete and joyful encounter with you. Amen.